Hi, so people wanted to have a quick look around Fen Edge, which is the map I'm making, so I figured I would do a quick whistle-stop tour. This is the second version of this video. The first version ended badly when I discovered that I'd been talking to myself for 20 minutes. So hopefully I've learned something along the way of doing that, and this will be a bit snappier and a little bit less boring, I think is the word I'm looking for. Right, so first off, let's take a look and see where we're at. I'm going to run this with the add-on mod that I have written, which allows multiple shops. And the way that that works is there are 4 shops on the map, and each one has unique products. One of the shops is a construction yard, which is where you'd go to buy your placeables. The other shops have physical goods. There's a New Holland dealership, a John Deere dealership. Each of those have the respective brands and some associated brands. So you can go to the John Deere shop and maybe get a Kerner plough or a Amazon spreader, or whatever, but you wouldn't be able to go get a New Holland tractor at the John Deere dealership, and so on. The other part of that is that you can't then just buy products anywhere on the map you start. So here we are at the South Stephen auction mart, which is where the eventually my vehicle auctions and land auction script will require you to be to pick up your purchases and register your bids and so on, but that script doesn't work yet, so we'll not worry about it too much. It's also where the animal dealership is, so when you want to buy animals, this is where you come. And as you can see, I'm using in the majority of cases assets from 2017, 2019 that were 2017 assets were brought through into 19. I think so. Some of the texture quality is better on some objects than others, and some bits are still missing textures, which is a bit of a problem. But let's give you a view of the map. There's about 150 fields in total, all told. Some of them not yet defined properly, but you can see there's a whole range of shapes and sizes, all based on a real life location just south of where I live. And it's called Fen Edge because out to this side, this is the Lincolnshire Fens, or part of them, and this is the village I live in up here, just off map. And this is very flat, very open countryside, primarily ditch separated fields, and there's a fairly low water table. And then over on this side it becomes much more enclosed. As you can see, it's actually much more rolling. There's hills and little valleys. We're not talking mountains or anything like that. They're undulating slopes really, but it's all based on real life. Obviously I've had to take some liberties. So I've taken cotton and sugarcane off the map because they just don't fit. I've left grapes and olives available if you want to plant them. I think you'd be a bit silly to try and grow them in South Lincolnshire, but you never know. But that's the general gist of the map. It's a 4 kilometre by 4 kilometre map, and you can see there's some hotspots on here. These are the shops. So you've got the construction yard, the John Deere dealership up there that I've talked about. This is the New Holland dealership, and the agricultural chemicals is the 4th shop, which I haven't talked about. So that is where you'd go to buy your pallets of seeds, your pallets of and big bags of fertilizer and lime and so on. You can't just pick them up at any store. There's a couple of buy points or sell points on the map. There's a fuel station. There's Fenland Grain Factors, which is a sell point for your crops, and there's Braceborough Grain down here in the village of Braceborough, Braceborough, and there's the Braceborough Hall stables, which will buy your bales, and there's another bale sale point here at South Kesteven Auction Mart. There's a biomass of wood sale point up here, and beyond that there aren't any other sale points, so I haven't got anything on the map as yet for production type sales, because it's just gameplay. I'm not that interested in. Production chains do nothing for me, so I'm far more focused on, you know, the farming realism side of it. There are, if I take a look at the farmlands, there are a number of farms on the map. The first is up here, which is a cow farm. The second is over here. This is more of a build your own farm area. It's a relatively flat, open area that I've only put a single barn on, and beyond that you can spread out and build your own barn, if that build your own farm if that's your thing. This is another farm in the village of Obthorpe. Quite a nice yard. It's got a silo, multi-fruit silo, and lots of storage and stuff, and we'll take a ride around all of the yards shortly. This is the Manthorpe Road farm, split across either side of the road. That comes with a couple of silos, which are single crop silos, so you can only put canola in it, and then empty it out and you reuse it for something else, which is kind of more the realism point of view. Manor Farm here, another arable farm. Wilsthorpe Farm, again arable. This one down here in Braceborough, that's a sheep farm. Although, you know, all of the farms can be used for whatever you want. There's a farm over here which is Braceborough Lodge, which is the model I've just been building and texturing and showing some pictures in the Discord, which I've not got the farmland set up for yet. And then the Spa Farm up here, which is a interesting thing in reality. That appears to be a disused farm now, repurposed for light industrial work, but for our purposes it's going to be an arable farm, but it's quite small, very limited storage space, so you absolutely have to expand out and take away some of the field, which is partly the reason why you've got this massive field around it, because then you've got somewhere to expand into. So that's the main sort of points. There is another point down here, which is the in real life that is a garden centre, and in game it will be a garden centre, where there'll be like a sale point for manure and maybe some other bits and pieces in there. And then the last farm to talk about is this one here, which is has a big chicken barn on it, although the nav mesh for that means the chickens are wandering somewhere around the map, and I've yet to find them. It doesn't load in the right place, and I've not figured out why. It's no different to any of the others, but there you go. So that's kind of the view from the map. Let's take a look around and show you the functionality of the shop as well. So I'm here at the animal sale point. So if I hit P, I can see that the shop screen basically doesn't work. I can click, but it's not showing me any products at all. So I'm just going to jump up to the John Deere dealership, and now I'm stood outside the door, which is where the buy point is. If I go and look at small tractors, you can see John Deere sell the 6M. But they don't sell, they do sell some cotton technology. They don't sell any sugarcane technology, so there's nothing to buy for that page, and so on. And if I go into big bags, there's no big bags, and so on. So that kind of shows the functionality there. So in the first version of this, I did a drive round and what have you, but I think I might fly this time around the yards and the landscape to give you an idea of what it's like. So this is the village of Manthorpe. In reality, there's houses and all sorts up here, and as you can see, there's a barren wasteland. I've not quite finished in this area, and I've started modelling the buildings from scratch for this village, so I'm looking forward to finishing that off. And the other thing you'll notice wherever we are on the map is the roads. The roads were initially done using street spline constructor and then stitched together and blended together to make a mesh. And as a result, they're pretty crap, and I am in the process of redoing them. But let's have a wander through this farm. So you've got some storage up here. Every farm has a placeable fuel tank, which when you buy the land you get, and that can be pre-filled, or you can pay to fill it, or you can go to the fuel station and pick up your own fuel for less and fill it up and do that if that's the gameplay you're after. So some of these have got opening doors and so on. Nothing particularly revolutionary about it. And this is the cow pasture, which I've erroneously put a field def in, so I need to remove that because obviously it should be grass. But this is where, if you own the land, you'd get the buy toggle to buy the animals, and you also get big barn up here, which you use for storage. And here you've got your slurry tank, your milk. The food goes in the middle. The water and so on is out the other side, and then you've got the manure pit here. You've got a bale barn, and in the bottom field you've got a bit more space to expand and grow and build some placeables if that's what your gameplay is after. And all these gates are bullet bills prefab, which are beautiful. The nice crisp modelling and beautiful textures and sounds and stuff. So that's basically the cow farm. And now I'll go for a bit of a fly. And what do I want? Where's flying on this? Flight mode. I'm so used to the 19 extended controls. Oh god, it's really slow, isn't it? It's actually going to be quicker to teleport around. So here we are at Manthorpe Road, and you can see there's still some objects without textures. This is one of the buildings that I've basically it's built out of individual walls and parts, almost like a kit, and I've got rid of that now. So I'm rebuilding all the objects that used it. But you can see here's your two silos placeables that you can use, a couple of bale sheds, a bit of storage, but you've got a big wide open area down here. And then across the road you also have a single large barn, another bit of storage, a couple of sheds, the fuel tank, and there's a bit of crap out the back in the weeds behind the shed, but you get to see a little bit of the kind of ground out here. It's not entirely flat. There is a little bit of undulation, but not much in this part of the world. Following the discussion on Discord, I put collision models into the hedges, but I'll show you in a minute. I'll buy a vehicle and show you they're actually pretty much in the middle, so it's not wholly onerous to drive around and do stuff. So in fact, I'll come down here now and have a look through into the dealership. Again, probably replace this building at some point with a more modern FS22 tolerant model, but for now it's okay. And we'll just buy a tractor, or try and buy a tractor anyway. Why is it being funny? Oh, it's because that is in the wrong place. I need to use the map to go there. There we go. You don't normally need to do that. It's just the point between the two is not great. So here you can buy JCB or New Holland. So I think we'll buy a JCB because it's nice and fast. And as you can see, it's delivered to the shop we're at. Obviously, it wouldn't make much sense if it was delivered back to the John Deere dealership or anything. But now we can whiz around and take a look at the Wilsthorpe farm. And there you can see one of the problems. I've put Bullet Bill's road signs in, and they are not working very well. They're falling over, and as you can see, this is why I want to remove the roads and redo them. They are dire. The real road in this area just comes down, turns right. There's none of this overly correcting turn, and there you can see the river and the river plain just in front of us, and there should be a bridge. Again, that's another shortcoming of the way I've done the roads, and something I'm looking to correct going forward. So this is, what's this, Farm 3. So we've got some buildings here which are fully textured yet because they're just a placeholder for now, but I'm working on that at the minute. And you get a couple of barns. Not looking too sure yet whether I'm going to make these little silos, fertilizer and lime silos that you can use and fill up, or not. Whether to leave them just decorative, I don't know. But we'll go down here and I'll show you. Obviously, this is more the fen area, and it's very flat, as you can see. And we'll drive over the highly realistic bridge. And come out this way, and this is an area I've just been recently adding a lot of hedges to. So a lot of these hedges are just plonked down by the spline method at the minute, and haven't been properly finished off. And here you can see in front of us a hedge that has had some attention to it, so it's a little bit more undulating and a little bit more realistic and lifelike on this side of the road. Okay, so spinning round. This is the agricultural chemical shop where you can buy both pallets, big bags, but there's also a bulk fill here where you can just drive in a trailer and go under there and buy fertilizer or lime straight out the thing. But here, you know, you can't buy a tractor here, but you should be able to buy. It's doing it again. The hotspots aren't quite in the right place as yet, and you need to go here. So you can see you have to be within I think it's 20 meters, so it's a fairly small area. But here we can buy a big bag of fertilizer, and there it is in front of us. So you know, that all works quite well. It just needs tidying up, really. So we're down here, and there are no farms in this area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to teleport us up to Manor Farm and show there. This is good because it allows me to show some of the other work that I've done with the power lines, using again power lines from Bullet Bill has massively improved the look. Nice gate, different style of gate to the one we showed before. And on the left is a building that I've made myself, but I'm still going through the process of texturing. So what you see there is just a placeholder, and you can see there's very little ground foliage or, you know, decorative work done. And here you've got another few sheds, smallish yard, fuel tank, and the track out here goes quite a long way. Actually, it goes all the way up here, loops around that field, and then comes back out to the road up here. So, you know, there are ways and means around the map that aren't immediately stuck to the roads. And when I get to the final point, this map isn't quite aligned. The image isn't quite right to the actual dem. So when I get that sorted, I'm going to paint the roads on in white and the tracks on in brown, so it's a little bit easier to see where things are. But these power lines are going to make for some interesting times in the fields with you know, collision models on the poles, make ploughing and combining interesting. And now we're going to go down into the village of Braceborough and take a look at the farm there with the sheep. This is a bridge I've just pinched as a placeholder, and it's sitting on top of the road plane. But this is quite a biggish village that's pretty much finished, but you can see some of the textures are not looking great because they're so old, and these buildings really need redoing. So at some point I will be going through that process. Here's the village hall, which is the first model I've done, and got in game with the shader mask on and so on. Massive thanks to Ola for helping me with that. And I know there was some comments on the Discord about the scale of it on the Frontier Discord. In actual fact, it's about right. It could be a little short, but the viewpoint being where it is, it's not too bad. I can go to external view and show, you know, that looks pretty much scale wise spot on. But yeah, I'm quite pleased with the way the textures look and so on, and you know, there's definite skill improvement I can take with the shaders, but all in all it's pretty good for a first attempt, and I'm quite happy. So now we'll go down this little lane to the farm. And I quite like this because it's quite immersive area. The bale sale points down that track, but we'll go there in a minute. For now, we'll just come and show you this yard, which is really quite nice. I like it. There's lots of interest, and the sheep field is out to the left, so that's where they are when you've got sheep, and the feed area and the water areas there. The pallets come out and go against that wall, and here you've got a bit of storage external for vehicles and implements and so on. And these silos currently don't do anything. I might replace them or make them into actual usable silos, but I'm not sure about that yet. And here you've got sheds again, and a big barn here with the sliding doors to show you the couple of bays you can use for storage, which is why I'm not sure about the silos, whether they're needed or not. Just dump the grain on the floor in there. So yeah, that's this farm. Try not to take any fences out. Here's the sale point for grain and so on. And I noticed on the video earlier this is quite a big lump, so that'll need a bit of smoothing. But this is again another building I've done. Not bad for a beginner really. I'm really quite pleased with the way that that's turned out to replace a 19 asset that wasn't working because of the textures issues. And here you go again, more bullet bill signs on the ground. I'm not sure what's causing that yet. And yeah, another road junction that's dire and clearly has a missing some normals that are missing or flipped there, which is a worry, but we'll resolve that when we replace all the roads. And these hedges have only just been placed in and sorted this week, so I've got to do a final pass down here and do some more foliage and bushes and all that sort of stuff, but gives you an idea of what the landscape is actually like around here. And this is all based on real terrain. There's only a few places where I've really had to make a different outcome to what the real landscape is like, and most of that is around ditches. A lot of these field boundaries have a ditch in real life, and in 19 putting the ditches in using splines and so on was painful and slow and didn't look very good, so I haven't done it, but now I think things are looking a little bit better. Now we're on the way down to the last farm on this whistle stop tour, which is Braceborough Lodge farm, and this is the one that I've been texturing and modelling this week and showing, and I'm really pleased at how it's turned out. And in reality, the farm itself doesn't look like this. It's a courtyard with a load of silos in the middle of it, but nobody will know, so I've changed it around to kind of look a little bit more like this. But I'm quite pleased. It looks pretty decent. You've got a fuel tank in the corner, big storage there for you get a combine in there, but you might not get a combine through the gate. And then you've got these big sliding doors which take you into a barn. Use that for storage of vehicles, implements, or crop or fertilizer or whatever. And then you've got another barn here. This one's got a poured concrete floor. I love the texture going on there, and the texturing generally is much better on these buildings than the old FS19, and I can absolutely see what Olo was saying about that. So yeah, that's basically a quick whistle stop tour of this end of the map. What I'm going to do is take you up to some of the more scenic parts of the map. My particular favourite at the minute is up here. So the track I'm on comes all the way up here and goes up to Spa Farm, but I'm actually going to drop us at the top of this field here, back in kind of the middle of this section, and you've got this nice little track that comes round the field. Oof, bit bumpy for this sort of speed. Might need to do a bit of smoothing. But you can see here that the river's just on the other side of all of this foliage, but in reality you can't see the river unless you're on a bridge. For much of the area, it's more of a stream than a river in reality, and it's quite difficult to get down to because it's in the middle of fields. But the foliage is very heavy, so I've taken the opportunity to really whack the trees in there, and now I'm going to come down here and turn left, and this is the first time you'll actually be able to see some deer. Good time to show you there is a collision model, but you can actually go into the hedge, and there's a little sort of ford across the river, which I really do like this part of the map. I know it's simple, and I know it's a bit daft, but I do kind of like it. It feels away from everything. And then this track goes right up and comes out behind the cow farm. So where we are here, it goes all the way down here and then up this, and crosses over the river again up here on a little bridge, and then comes out way back up here. But it's quite a nice little area. And this track to the left is going to lead me back out onto Manthorpe Road, but it's going to take me to where I'm going to build a mill, another sell point, for a mill on the river, which I've shied away because my 3D modelling isn't great, but it's getting better, so I feel like I should challenge myself a little. So that's kind of this side of the map, and now I'm going to take a big jump, and we'll go have a look at the other side when I see what sort of feedback this little video gets, and anything you guys want to look at or talk about.